Now, disabled people in Greece are often stigmatised and can struggle to get the support they need. Very little is known about what goes on in the dozen or so institutions for disabled people in the country because access is restricted. But the BBC's Chloe Hadjimatheou did gain permission to enter one state-run home and found children locked up in cages. Well, Chloe led that investigation, is with me now in the studio. Welcome to the programme. Children locked up in cages, I mean, this is grim stuff. Just describe what you found.
Well, it's a state-run institution in a small town in southern Greece called Lechaina that caters to around 70 adults and children with disabilities. Many of them are restrained. They're either kept in wooden cages with mattresses in the bottom or else wooden cells with a bed behind a locked door. Others are strapped to their beds. Many of them have severe learning and physical disabilities, but others, like two 9-year-old girls I saw who I was told have autism, go to school in the mornings, and when they come back from school, they're locked back inside the cages.
And so the authorities in charge of these homes, did they explain why this was happening?
Yes, the director of the centre said she's new, she's been there for less than a year, and she said she'd like to get rid of the cages. She believes they're wrong, but she says she's not able to because she's got so few staff. On each floor there's one nurse and one ward assistant catering for around 25 disabled children and adults. And so the director says they need the cages and these cells for the safety of the residents, but disability rights groups I spoke to say they can't be justified in any kind of medical context, and they may be there more for the convenience and protection of staff who fear prosecution than for the protection of the residents.
I imagine there may be similar situations in other homes around the country. What are the Greek authorities, the Greek government, what do they think about this?
Well, I spoke to somebody from the Ministry of Labour and Social Welfare, Effie Beku, who's in charge of these institutions, and she said, I can't give you an exact timeline for when these children will be transferred out of the institution, but this country is going through the worst economic crisis since the Second World War, and agreements we have with our lenders at the EU and IMF mean we're very limited in terms of hiring any new staff. Now, these cages in this institution predate the crisis. Obviously, the crisis has made everything worse, but the Greek Ombudsman was inside this institution in 2010. He made a damning report criticising the conditions and saying they were illegal. Since then, the only real changes I could see were that some of the cages have been painted pretty colours, I assume, to try and make them more cheerful. And
looking ahead, I mean, is anything going to change in real terms other than painting the cages?
Well, there are 12 institutions, at least 12 institutions like this around Greece, and it's very difficult to get a picture of what the conditions are like in the other centres. I applied to 2 others and I was rejected permission to visit them. And the Greek government is struggling financially still, and there is a massive stigma surrounding disability in Greece, so it's very difficult to see how there's going to be any change soon.
Chloe, many thanks. That was the BBC's Chloe Hadjimatheou there with that investigation into homes for children in Greece. Still to come on the programme, I'm going to be speaking to our sports